So we're on the Celsius.
Yeah. My God, we can literally start every single episode this entire season with "So we're on the Celsius."
It's essentially like the hub world, right?
That's our base, our clubhouse.
It's our base, at very least.
I've been using it like a hub world, and then I learned this episode that is very dumb to do that.
It's where the bar is.
It's not necessarily dumb.
Home is where the bar is.
I don't know. I think it's a good idea.
We'll get into it in this particular episode, I think.
Episode of what?
What are we called again?
I believe it's the Every F and FF podcast. The last time I checked.
I thought this was DJ Dittos.
Shit.
Fuck.
Yeah. All my notes about Scyther are useless. God, okay. Very, very small aside. I'm sorry. We're already doing it. But like 30 seconds into the podcast, I've probably watched 8 hours of can you beat the entirety of this Pokemon game with only this Pokemon type videos in the last like 2 or 3 days.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So like, whew, I'm ready for that.
Seems like a fun challenge.
You're preparing for the monster creator?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Can you beat all of Pokemon Gold with just Flan? No, because he's not in that game.
Damn.
But
speaking of the bar,
it's real low this season.
I thought about the Hypelos just now. If their impediment is saying everything with a S, with SH, how do we know that shoe puffs aren't pronounced soup puffs?
Oh, that's a good point.
I am certain that someone else says the word shoe puff.
It's like, is that derived from the Hypelo language, or is it, like, what is the etymology of it within Spira?
Right.
Because it could just be, it's like a what's it called, chicken before the egg thing, a chocobo before the egg, sorry.
This wasn't a Katase game, was it? Who's the producer on this?
Katase was producing, he was not directing.
Listen, if I learned one thing in the entirety of us doing this podcast, it's that fucking pronunciation doesn't fucking matter. They're changing the fucking goalpost constantly with this shit.
You know what I learned today, by the way, for all my FF9 heads? Sakaguchi's wife is named Eiko.
Oh,
like the
nice.
character in FF9. I thought
Shout
that was very
out to
cute.
Mutsky if he's listening.
His favorite character.
His favorite character.
Yeah.
Biggest stan of
Let it be known.
Character. But where are we heading from the Celsius?
Okay, so the cool thing about Final Fantasy X-2 is that from the Celsius, you can go anywhere at any time. So the entire world of Spira is open for us, right? Even Xanarkand. Like anywhere we want to go, we can go there.
They fucking installed like a Holiday Inn over there.
They gentrified
kind of did,
it, dude.
yeah.
Everything's a fucking Airbnb now. All of the McDonald's like got rid of the cool colors and just made it a better business model for selling down the road because everyone sees the writing on the wall and property values are plummeting. And
I mean, yes, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I have not even gone to Xanarkand yet. The game is very much telling us, don't go to Xanarkand. They're like, they're like, go to Xanarkand, but don't go to Xanarkand because if you talk to Buddy.
You're very much like right on point with that, Carl.
Is there like a Mondo Mascots version of Sin? Who did you get to take pictures with?
Not quite that far, but regardless.
This is just 2 years after it, so they're not. Fucking James Cameron of Spira has yet to make a romantic film about the crisis that was going on, which I mean would be a good premise for a movie in this world or a sphere in this world because I mean it already is a love story basically, right?
So yeah, what we're going to be doing instead is going by the Steam Achievements Guide, because I feel like that's a pretty accessible guide for everybody to get and to view, and it will give us 100% completion if we follow it to the letter. And it also gives you markers along the way that, like, if you've done everything up to this point, you'll have exactly this many percentage points. So... and the way it usually works is you just go down the list, starting at the top, saving the hotspots for last. And hotspots are the way of the game telling you, like, these are the locations that you need to visit to advance, like, the main story. So we'll do those very last.
I can't remember if we credited the author of the Final Fantasy X-2 100% Achievement Guide, but shoutouts to Lilet, I believe, and one collaborator, because without you, covering this game would be a fucking nightmare.
You ain't lie. But yeah, so we are actually going to go to Luca first, which I think is pretty fun because the game started in Luca. Like, the intro scene of the game started in Luca. And every area, when we revisit it or go to it for the first time in a chapter, will have a new piece of story that's not necessarily connected to the main story, but is part of the story nonetheless, right? Like,
it's your Monster of the Week episode. It's not
it's your Monster of the Week.
Conspiracy episodes, but, you know.
That's right. That's exactly
Mulder
right.
and Scully are still going to get into some shenanigans, and some would say these are the best missions in the game.
There you go. Yeah, so
we're going to head to Luca, and we get a mission prompt because we navigate there from the Celsius the same way that we would, similar way, from the Fahrenheit in FF10, where we just talk to Buddy, I think, and he'll give us a list of the map, and then we can kind of just autopilot our way there. You know, we're not actually flying the ship or anything, but the mission prompt says, "Real commotion, Luca."
Real commotion. I didn't even read that.
Luca, City of Pleasure, which is a wild way to talk about Luca. I guess it's fitting, but that has a different kind of connotation, I thought. But okay, Yuna-hungry crowds packed the stadium, but did they get what they paid for? The true story behind the music.
I love it. I love it so much. That's so good.
This was a good moment for me because I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I thought the beginning of the game was kind of bullshit because they didn't go into anything when it was the beginning of the game. Clearly they're going to go into it, and I am really in love with this particular chapter of what happens.
I think this is done very well. I actually like this chapter quite a bit.
Yeah, but it starts off, and we see Yuna kind of going, I think it's to the balcony area.
Yeah, they dropped us off
where the Titus laugh happened, right?
Towards Mihai High Road.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I guess there's no way for the Celsius to dock at port.
Yeah. We can't just Sonic Adventure 2 battle our way down on the grind rails and stuff.
Given the intro of the scene in Gaga's Head, it looks like we just jump off the fucking ship and just land.
Honestly, Unit loves jumping off shit.
I noticed we teleport in when we go back to our ship from the save spheres.
Oh yeah, you're right.
We just teleport onto the deck like Star Trek.
Fair enough.
Beam me up, buddy.
Beam me up, buddy.
Beam me up, brother.
You know what? I don't know this for a fact, but I'm willing to make a bet right now that the words "beam me up, buddy" will appear at some point in the game, and I don't know this, but I'm willing to put $5 down on it.
That is not unlikely because this game does seem to reference pop culture in a way that 10 only kind of did with the loose reference to the Macarena.
Yeah. We've been recording for less than 10 minutes and we've already got a fucking behind the music reference.
Yeah. But another reference that they made, I can't remember if we talked about it, but when we were fighting the recoils, those cool snake guys, did you guys hear what Riku says when you first get in there?
Oh yeah.
She goes, "Snake, snake, snake!"
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, little Metal
She
Gear
does
Solid
do that. I didn't
there.
even get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, really cute.
I feel like such a fool.
I think that goes back to my personal thesis of this game, which is you can be of two camps when playing this game. You can be that's fucking stupid and I hate it, or you can be that's fucking stupid and I love it.
I'm telling you, I demand that Final Fantasy 17 be a spiritual successor to this game.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
I demand it.
Hell yeah.
It's X+2.
Oh.
Over 365 days or whatever.
That's right.
But yeah, so Yuna's walking in and there's a huge crowd of her adoring fans that are kind of...
impressive people count, because I remember when we first got to Luca in the first game, they had to kind of do careful framing to make it look like there's more people there.
Oh, yeah.
They do a pretty good job. There's even Ronso here.
Yeah, a big Ronso lady.
But yeah, the crowds are swarming Yuna because last they saw her, she was doing her Eras tour.
And Riku's being a manager for her, where she's telling everybody single file, please, no pushing. Yeah,
being the touring merch salesman.
Yeah, right. But we get some inner monologue from Yuna. She says, I couldn't bring myself to tell them it was just an imposter. This whole mess started with the garment grid. That's the invention that lets us harness the dress sphere's power. And that's when we get our mission begins.
Mission time.
Mission time.
Get some fucking riffs in there.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the mission for this one is just to, like, it literally says just retrace Yuna's steps. And so we just kind of go over, like, what happened while LeBlanc as Yuna was singing Real Emotion.
Yeah, and as we were controlling Pain and Riku.
There's no combat in this chapter or in this mission at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of shows the cutscene that we may or may not have just finished watching of Yuna kind of showing up and fighting Logos and Orny or whatever the fuck their names are.
Orny, yeah.
Where she's like shooting at them and they're dancing and stuff, and she does the cool jump and stuff, and she says, believe it or not, this was the easy part. And then we kind of get like some more background footage. I like the way that they kind of dip back and forth between like the shitty VHS quality and then kind of just like not being that the whole time.
Yeah, so like there's kind of like 3 different modes in this chapter, right? There's like current time, like with Yuna running around, which is like the screen looks normal. Then we have flashbacks to scenes that we've already seen before, which have the super heavy VHS like degradation on top of them. And then we play through a flashback, which doesn't have the VHS degradation, but it is like washed out. It's like a low contrast and kind of has a blue
Instagram
hue.
filter.
An Instagram filter. And as soon as we see the little scene once again where Yuna like jumps off Logos and Ormy, we get a flashback sequence that is first person. Like we see through Yuna's eyes, and she's like stumbling up some stairs or like walking very slowly, right?
It does remind me a bit of when Jecht was bringing his camcorder along for the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we see some... From Yuna's perspective, we see some Yuna fans running by her, right? Like they're like saying like, oh, I can't believe the summoner's here. The summoner's going to do a concert. That's going to be amazing. And they just run right by Yuna, right? Like they don't even recognize her. And Pain even mentions it. She's like, oh, they don't recognize Yuna. And they're like, oh, not dressed like this anyway. And then we see that Yuna is in a giant... Sorry, go ahead.
The delivery of this is so good because the camera changes. Yuna's talking to Pain and Riku, who are at the top of the stairs and stuff, and Yuna says, I didn't ask to wear this. And then it gets an establishing shot from behind them, and we see the stairs as Yuna is walking up, and the first thing we see is a little pom-pom, and then just wobbling up in a giant Moogle mascot costume. And I was fucking beside myself. I'm like, it all makes sense now.
So yeah, she's donned a giant, like, Disney-style Moogle mascot costume to be able to sneak around Luca while LeBlanc is impersonating her, right?
Yeah, no, I don't want to critique anyone's hard work on their cosplays.
Tim Robinson in a Moogle costume. We gotta figure out who did this.
We're all looking for who did this.
I don't want to ever critique someone's hard work on their cosplays because I'm sure people who have cosplayed as Yuna from this game have done amazing jobs and they're great and all that. But in my personal opinion, if you don't cosplay as the Yuna inside of this costume and then take off the Moogle costume and you're still Yuna, then you're a really big missed opportunity. I want to see that.
This looks like Yuffie used this as like the basis of her costume in Dirge of Cerberus 2 years later.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To shreds.
Yeah, but Riku kind of lays out the plan and says, we'll be back in 2 shakes, so be a good Moogle. You hear?
Yeah.
And like Yuna is just so dejected. Like the body language on the Moogle costume is so funny.
It's so good. And then, she has a little bit of an inner monologue where she's like, okay, so all I have to do is like lay low. I just have to wait for Riku and Pain. And right before we gain control of her, she like almost falls backward and the Moogle head like falls off and she grabs it and like puts it back on real quick before anybody can notice. You can see her
face through like a little like crack in the costume. It's so good.
It's really good.
And that's how I got stuck with the Gullwing's prized garment.
And the next line after that, I complained, but brother's orders are still orders. Brother,
like, why did
freak.
Brother get to call the shots? He didn't fucking save the world. He was playing blitzball.
Yep.
A bunch of children run up and just start cheering around the Moogle costume.
I know.
It's like this game.
So
at this point, I was like, "This is the greatest fucking Final Fantasy game I've ever played in my entire life."
I really like her run cycle in when she's in Moogle mode.
Mm-hmm.
Since the torso kind of slumps to like just above her knees, she kind of has to do like a little kind of a weird like strut.
There's also, I think, a little sound effect that plays like a little squeaky kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cute.
But we finally are in control. We can walk around. We can talk to some NPCs. There's one mulling over whether they should join New Yevon or the Youth League. So that will become important here soon.
There's
some bands playing.
There's a subtle little Mario reference too. Did you guys catch that?
Maybe
one of the children says "woohoo," which we all know is a famous Mario line.
Actually, it's Wahoo.
Oh yeah, right. Shit.
I believe that's been updated for the most recent one. It's now Wowie Zowie.
Yeah, Wowie Zowie, man.
But yeah. So we continue down the stairs into Luca proper. We get a short scene of current day Yuna. Some like crowds come up to her and a little kid is like talking to her and accidentally like lets go of a balloon in front of her, right? The camera follows the balloon up into the air and it dissolves back into a flashback.
Now she'll never get time in the Chocobo racing.
Oh, the balloons.
God, yeah. As that's all going on, Riku does say like, "Oh, what were you up to after we left when we were last here, Yuna?" And Yuna says, "That's top secret."
Yeah. But when we regain control, we see what she was up to, and it's pretty
I do like
funny.
the match transition where you follow the balloon up, and then you see some like hot air balloons in the distance, and then you can see the filter kind of kick in, and then it pans back down. Then
that is really good.
In I guess like yesterday.
Mm-hmm. But as soon as she steps into
I don't know if there's been nighttime in this game yet.
Yeah.
But as Yuna's walking around as a Moogle, she gets called over. Someone's like, "You get over here."
Yeah, some dude.
Mm-hmm.
What is she doing? I just like the beginning of the cutscene. She's kind of posing with her arm out, like she's like a statue.
I mean, I get it. Sometimes the need to just vogue just takes over you, like no matter where you are. Like I understand. But yeah, this stranger calls her over and is like, "Get over here." And it's funny because this guy, when you regain control of Yuna and you're like going over to talk to him, he's standing behind objects. So like oftentimes I'll be like, "Where the fuck is this guy?"
I talked to like
can't
every
see him.
motherfucker in Luca before talking to this guy. I had to
where
scroll
is
so
he?
long through my screenshots. But yeah, he's just kind of standing near a little kiosk that has some balloons.
NPC placement in this game so far has been pretty wacky.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
But he says, "You're here to promote the concert, right?" And Yuna's just like, no, there must be some sort of mistake.
Yeah, Yuna, Moogles, inseparable.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, true. But yeah, he's like, "Hey, thanks, don't screw it up." And he's just not listening to her, being like, "No, this is some sort of mistake." And Yuna says, "Did I do it because I couldn't turn him down? Or because, wait, what does it say?"
Did I do it because I couldn't turn it out, or because the conversation was over before I had the chance?
Right. So now Yuna is in the ultra important mission Balloon Drive. Somehow you've managed to end up promoting your imposter's concert. Use A to hand out balloons to 10 people in the plaza and build up some buzz.
I have such an important question to ask during this minigame. One that will shake the foundations of the Final Fantasy X universe. So there are several characters standing around the fountain, around the plaza, that you have to hand balloons to, right? And two of them...
There's like children, there's like an old lady.
Yeah.
There's like one guy you can't give anything to because he's like, "Do I look like I need a balloon?"
Yeah, one dude is just like, "Yo, fuck
guy.
balloons." But two of them aren't readily apparent. They're behind a closed screen, and you have to open that screen up, right?
Yeah, like this is something like... I don't think we could interact with this in the last game.
Did you talk to these gentlemen outside of this mission?
Oh, I don't think so. No, not yet.
I did. And they say, if you talk to them outside the mission, they go, "Can you not bother me right now? I'm trying to commentate the game." And I said, "This is Baba and Jimma from Final Fantasy X." And I don't know that is the case because it doesn't have their names. And surely there are more than two commentators in the entire world. Yeah, it could be anybody. It could be anybody or anything. However, in my head canon, because those are the only two commentators in the universe that we get to know in the first game. To me, those are Baba and Jimma. That's who that is.
Is it still off season or not? I feel like we've gotten some dialogue here and there, or we will in this section of people talking about how it's the off season and there's like everyone's practicing for Blitzball.
Or they may have said like I'm getting ready to go live on the thing. Something like that, though.
Unless we're talking about like Sphere Blitz or something weird like that.
Sphere Break? Come on out.
Sphere break, yeah. The pin is loosening. Curtis's pin is loosening on that one.
It's like, yeah, why would they be here if during the off season?
I can't remember exactly the words that they use. It probably isn't commentate the game, but it's something like that where they're like, hey, we're getting ready to go live with commentary or something like that.
Huh.
But I was like, commentary, 2 dudes, that has to be Baba and Jimma. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I have nothing else to support that theory.
I fully am in the camp of it being them, 100%. You've convinced me.
Yeah, I've chosen to believe
they're real
that that's who these
workaholics,
guys
so
are.
of course they're going to be commentating on the off season. They're watching reruns and they're still talking about it.
Yeah.
There's no rest for them. They are working 365 days a year, or however many days there are on this planet, or whatever.
They're commentating. What are those called? Scrimmage games, I think, and like baseball.
Yeah, the preseason, dude.
Yeah. Anyway,
college blitzball.
That's right.
I think also we get some really good voice acting here from Yuna because she's doing kind of like a mascot voice.
Oh, it's
a little
so
bit.
good.
Like, want to see the concert? Like, it's very cute.
You want to see the concert?
Yeah.
Get 'em while they're hot.
Yeah, get 'em while they're hot.
Almost a Mickey Mouse kind of
It
thing.
is, yeah. I like it a lot.
See the concert, okay?
Don't forget to cheer. The concert's about to start.
But importantly, when you give the last balloon out, she hears a radio transmission, and it's the first line of the game. She hears Riku say, YRP in position, which we now know is a lie. It's just RP in position. They don't know where Y is.
Yeah, that's a good point. What the fuck?
Where are we supposed to be?
Riku, don't speak for Yuna.
Yeah, Riku's like, I got her right where I need her. She's handing out balloons at the fucking plaza.
Maybe Yuna's kind of the noob to like the Sphere Hunter, because it seems like she kind of joined last.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because Pain joined before, or I'm trying to remember the order of what they said.
Yeah, they did say Pain was before her, and I guess if it's Brothers Team, then we can assume that Riku was like with him before. Maybe Yuna went back to like Besaid and then couldn't deal with it and then left.
I think in the Eternal Calm, they're on a ship and she's talking to Riku about like going on a journey with her, and Riku's like, "Yeah, of course. You just need a costume change." Is I think like the last moment that happens in Eternal Calm. So we can assume that it's like an already active team, and we know that Yuna looks up to Pain as a Sphere Hunter.
That's right,
and also a friend.
Ooh.
We can get the Healing Wind sphere or garment grid here
for doing the balloon mission.
Yeah, when you finish it.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I never really look into this. I never really care about it or check it out. However, I'm going to make a concerted effort this season to tell you all what these grids do when we get them.
Oh, yeah.
Because usually I just find like 1 or 2 that work, and then I just go like, whatever, I don't care.
I like the look of this one.
I did look into some of them. What was this one called again?
This one is Healing Wind.
Right.
So
I think this one allows you to use Cure and Cura and Curaga, I believe, but from the start you just use Cure.
That's right.
Which I had to equip at one point later on to get me out of a really dangerous situation.
Yeah, I could have used that later in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, interesting too, I think, is that name a reference to Aerith, Jesus, who am I?
Oh yeah, I guess it is.
Her limit break.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Maybe. So yeah, every grid has it's almost like a materia slot system, except much like the sphere grid, as we kind of traverse it almost like a game board in Final Fantasy X, we can configure the relation of our dress spheres and how and which ones we can change to and what happens when we transform between them, right?
Yeah, right. And we can transform to any of them on the grid, but we have to be at an adjacent one. Yeah.
Adjacent, that's the word.
I like perpendicular.
But yeah, Healing Wind has I think there's 3 slots so we can have 3 dress spheres in there at a time.
Right.
If you travel between the bottom one and any of the two top ones, there you can either use Cure or Curaga while that transformation happens, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
it's kind of a built-in effect in exchange for more slots.
right, yeah. So usually I find like I'll get like one or two of them that just give me like properties for just equipping it that I like stat boosts and stuff like that. But there's a lot of strategy that you can do by equipping different ones. So I think this season I'm going to make like an effort to look at every one of them and like think about what they do.
Yeah, I think like one of them that we got like last week that I started using a bunch was it has different like from the paths you can go through. It will buff your character a little bit, so you can make like you put the warrior one near a strength +5 boost. So for that particular battle, you can kind of start in one thing, increase your power, and get really strategic with that, which I really like. I think that adds a layer of complexity that like I haven't really seen in any other Final Fantasy game.
I agree.
I think another interesting thing that I found out just playing around more with the battle system this season is how you level up your like dress spheres.
Yeah, I love this about it.
I love this a lot because I went into the abilities menu and it shows you which abilities you can unlock, and I realized why I love this so much. We just got some Final Fantasy VIII mechanics right here for us.
Which ones?
You can just set
R1, or?
You can set what thing you want to learn.
Like the GFs. That's right.
Yeah, so it's like if you just let it go default, it'll be like, oh, okay, I learned Power Break. Okay, now I learned Pilfer Gill, all of that stuff. But you can actually go into the ability list when you get a new dress sphere and choose specific ones that you want to level up, and it'll have a number of, I think it corresponds to AP or something similar, but
it's like assigning which Pokemon is holding the experience share kind of thing.
Sort of. It's like
the more you use it, the more like
it's also very similar to me feeling as FF2, but done really well. Where it's
really
the more proficiency you have with doing something, you unlock better abilities.
You get AP for beating enemies and for doing actions. It rules. Like it's so good.
So it's really really interesting.
So later in this episode, I realized like I could really use Blizzara.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to talk about that.
So I just made sure that like I saw it was already working, like most of them in the Black Mage job or dress sphere were working towards unlocking Fyra, but I just shifted it over. It's like, no, prioritize learning Blizzara first. Yeah. Which I really like.
My advice is, as soon as you can, have your Black Mage learn level 2 Black Magic, because it cuts the ATB time in half. So it's like having haste on all the time.
I didn't even know that. Interesting. I think there is a bit of a give and take with that, though, because if I'm not mistaken, it might take a little longer to rattle off that spell.
No, it's shorter.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Even when there's like when you like queue it up and then there's the animation.
The purple bar ends up being shorter, yeah.
Interesting, okay.
There's a level 3 too, and the purple bar ends up, it's like instantaneous. You just like put the command in and it happens.
That's so sick.
It's awesome. Anyway though. So Yuna hears the YRP in position, right?
It's showtime, girls.
That's right. And then we get the current day squad, and and Riku's just talking kind of more about that and was just like, oh my god, like everyone was having fun, everyone was dancing, and Yuna's like, oh, I wonder if like LeBlanc was having fun. Do you guys think LeBlanc was having fun? And then Paine delivers such an edgelord line, which will just become her like catchphrase basically, where she says, until she got hurt.
Love it.
And then we're back in Moogle time, baby.
Yeah,
Moogle time.
Yeah, so we're back. Yeah, back in flashback Moogle time. We see Yuna going into the Blitzball Stadium, and she's unable to get into the stadium proper. There's like guards in the way, right?
There's a fucking like an usher who's like, "Oh, hold it, the concert's sold out. You can't go in." Could you imagine if fucking the Philly Fanatic or Gritty was trying to like walk into the stadium and like the building security was just like, "No way, buddy, you're not getting in."
So she does the little like disappointed like body movement or whatever. Ooh. And another usher kind of runs out and says like, hey, we have some gate crashers. I need to like back up, right? And it turns out that these guards or these ushers are not guards or ushers at all. They're in fact LeBlanc's henchmen who are like disguised.
Oh, these were the goons. I see, yeah.
They're gooning. They're gooning
they
hard.
say must be those sphere hunters. Then they do the transformation, yeah.
That's right.
They put their goon dress sphere on.
Yeah, their Wolverine claws.
So Yuna's like, Okay, I'm in this. She's in the mascot uniform, and she's like, I didn't know what to do. I don't know where Riku or Pain were. So it just kind of shows her running around in a circle, like around the docks while other things are happening, and she just like runs over to a dock and just cowers in the corner. Which, if you remember from the intro when we played as Riku,
Gotta heal.
you can go out to a dock and get healed by a Moogle who is cowering in the corner.
I remembered seeing that and being like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm like, all right, well, whatever and stuff. And the payoff here is actually so fucking good.
It's so good. That was Yuna the whole time.
I also like to think that this is kind of built for like replayability, because there's a good chance that you didn't find that Moogle because you were being chased by guards and just trying to run on the critical path. You're not necessarily going to look on each of the docks. Seems kind of like counterintuitive. But when you know what already happened and you go back to replay it, you get to go there and find her and be like, oh my God, this is Yuna.
Right.
Wait, so if you didn't go and interact with that Moogle,
she doesn't do the line "Riku is having fun."
Yeah, where you see
it shows
Riku
the scene where Riku.
Yeah,
we don't see the heal happen in this cutscene.
That's right.
Right.
Okay, I was wondering, like, oh, that's cool. That's consistency.
Yep.
Which again, I feel like I love this particularly, but I also feel like we'd be remiss to not mention that that's kind of shitty game design. That like this is
this is Yuna's Cloud moment. She was the soldier there the whole time.
I have no problem with that.
LeBlanc is the Zack.
I have no problem with that at all. What I mean is gating the good ending behind like having done this.
Yeah, I think that this game is meant for multiple playthroughs because it is short. Like if you go through just the main story, you can beat this game in like 3 hours. Like it is short as shit. Like if you would go just through the hotspots. So I think that like
we're already well past the 3 hour mark of our coverage.
Yeah, I know. But I think it is meant for multiple playthroughs. So I think that like the idea is that you beat it
so
and
then you listener to play it every week. Yeah.
But I think you like continually find new things each playthrough. I believe is the intention.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up. And like any of my complaints that I have about any of these games really have to be taken with a grain of salt. Of like, I am playing this in a way that is not like a way that developers would ever plan for, like this slow and this like have to be so concise and like do everything all at once and stuff. So like my opinion on stuff will be tempered by that.
Sure.
Also, I was thinking, just seeing kind of how the confusion, even up to the Brady guide or whatever, of how to actually get 100%. It's like, okay, well, just going like in the guide that we're following, it's like just going into the Mian High Road will get you 0.2% or whatever, which we talked about last time. And it's like, I wonder if they didn't mean for it to be as punishing as it ended up being, where it's like they weren't expecting you to have to do everything. They were just like, this will be X amount of percent. If you did everything, it's going to be well over 100%. But so you're but the way that it kind of all comes together in the end is like you have to do all of these things in order to get 100%, and it's a little more punishing than it maybe they wanted it to be in the design phase. That's kind of my read on it currently.
There are several points in the game where we will have to make decisions that do affect the outcome of the game, where like you can't go back and change the decision, and the branching paths all have percentages. So if you were to play the game over and over again, you would rack up way more than 100% doing every scene. So like you can get by with not actually seeing everything and still getting 100 on multiple playthroughs.
Yeah, which is frustrating for the way I like to play games, but that's completely fine.
Yeah. But anyway, I do like that. When Yuna's on the dock, she sees Logos walking by, and Logos like slowly turns his head and looks at her in the Moogle costume, and she does a very cute pose where she like puts both of her hands over her mouth, like oh no, yeah, and he just walks by because he doesn't realize.
It's such a good establishing shot too, because you just see like the Moogle in the background, and you only see his gigantic fucking revolver as he's just standing there, and he like stares her down, and it's so fucking funny.
But she's like, okay, it's go time. She like jumps out of the dock, and before she transforms into the gunner garment grid, right? Mm-hmm. And before she does like that like dance thing where you roll your arms like over each other. I was like, yo, let's go. It's very cute.
I like that kind of just implies.
Oh, she's doing the pose when she transforms into Yuna. She does the pose she was doing as the Moogle at the beginning of the episode.
Oh,
she
yeah,
holds her
nice.
hands on her waist with her arm out like she's shooting.
I really like that this kind of just implies that this is almost like a Garmin sphere or like a dress sphere kind of thing, where it's like, let us have the Moogle thing. Let that be the joke thing, where it's like, if you can get a hit off, it does a lot of damage, but there's a really bad benefit or something.
I have good news to share with you a long time from now.
Okay, good.
I have either good news for you to for a long time from now, or I have incredibly bad news if you miss like even one thing along the way.
Yeah. It sounds like FF10 too.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So
I like
then
when she says, "Here comes the real Yuna," when we see like the VHS filter one.
Yeah.
This is a very funny plan.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I feel like she could have dressed like as any other, a much more mobile character, but it wouldn't have been as fun.
One thing I do like, I like it about this game. I mean, I could see like if somebody like didn't appreciate it as much, but I like that the Gull Wings are not necessarily good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like as Spear Hunters,
they're real Goonies about
very,
it.
very cowboy bebop energy coming from it. Like I could see an episode being like the only thing Spike can do is wear a mascot costume, and he's not allowed to kick the shit out of someone, but he's like so ready to, and then he finally gets to.
Yeah, they just kind of like stumble their way into victory most of the time, and like I don't know, I think that's quite charming actually.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. Yeah, Riku says that she was like just about to finish them off, but then Yuna showed up and stole all the fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a little wrap up on the dock. Yuna's like, "Oh, I was so glad to get out of that costume," and Payne's like, "Ah, so that's why you were dancing, right?"
Uh-huh.
At the very end of it,
little throwback to the scene.
And as soon as she says, like, "Oh, that's why Yuna was dancing," Brother comes in on the intercom and is like, "Yuna dancing? Where?" It's like, "Oh, you creep, you weirdo." Listening in the whole time. I was so ready to be pro Brother at the beginning of this season, and I'm already.
Oh man, what a tragic loss of a character.
Fall from grace.
Can't believe Brother died in Final Fantasy X and was replaced with a shitty doppelganger.
And this is kind of like the wrap up to the intro, because Yuna has another little inner monologue to finish off the scene. And it begins with, "So this is my life now." And so it does feel like a little bit of like a capo, or a coda, a coda on the end of the intro story, right? Shut up, Carl. Shut up.
I heard capo, I was like, I gotta take my headphones off.
I know. I can't believe I said that. Anyway, so she says, "So this is my life now." And she has like a moment where she's kind of like talking to the memory of Tidus, I guess. And she says, like, "From time to time, I find myself sopping and listening for your whistle."
Did you say sopping?
I did. I forgot the T. Can I try it again?
Yeah.
You can leave.
Actually a powerful scene. Maybe I'm gonna take that one again, because I was just about to talk about how sad this is, but yeah, she's saying that
you can leave this in if you want, but
yeah,
I am also going to. I am also
shit.
going.
Yeah, no.
I'm also going to take it again.
I'll let her say it.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. And insert Yuna talking right here.
We travel from place to place, and the days just seem to fly by. But sometimes I find myself stopping. I'm listening for your whistle.
Okay, Carl.
Yeah, that one that got me pretty good, because I think I talked about it before. Like I really felt for Yuna in the first game, and just remembering the last scene in 10 where she's just at the dock and whistling over and over and over again. Very, very sad. So
right. And that's mission complete, and we're brought back to the Celsius. And one thing I really like about this game is that every time you return to the Celsius from a mission or a location, Riku and Payne will have new things to say.
I love that. I do love that.
I love it.
Not sure.
They have like just a little commentary on what we just kind of went through.
Yeah.
It's cute. Not sure how much percentage it affects, or if at
Zero.
all. Yeah, but I will be doing it every single time, because I always
it's comedy
love
every time.
I love the little flavor text. I'm always a sucker for that.
Like this time, Riku says, "If a Riku imposter ever shows up, do I have to wear something like that?" That's really good.
But before we go back to the airship, there is more stuff that you should probably do in Luca, just to get some extra percentage.
You can't do it before you go back to the airship. It's automatic.
Oh yeah, so you have to do this, which again kind of makes it feel like a hub world.
Rest, not
take a nap.
Go take a nap
Luca.
just in case. You never know. Always good to tip the bartender and say what up.
Oh, actually,
Sleep
I didn't.
tight.
I forgot to do it this time. Luckily, I can go back and do it. But I forgot to do the extra stuff in Luca.
Oh yeah, no. So I don't think there's really too much. It's literally just like
it's the off season.
Re-enter Luca after completing the mission. You can get the Thunderspawn Garmin grid on Dock 5, which you just have to walk through some boxes or something, and then
you can go to the.
Curtis, you missed something very important actually. Yeah.
I missed the shredded boy. I missed our dude.
Oh, the flexing guy,
who's incredibly flexed up and incredible looking.
I didn't stand around to see if he restarts his animation of starting like flexing and then like with his arms up before he puts them down, because he was just kind of standing there like in the pose. So I had to like walk out and walk back in a couple of times to get good screenshots of him flexing.
Are we talking about Rin?
Oh no, I'm talking about just.
I'm talking about Ren.
I'm just talking about a regular ass NPC who's just standing there. When you walk in, he's just like,
no. I'm just talking about Ren because I remember like last season or the Final Fantasy X season when we were talking about Ren. I was just like, dude's just got it all out there. Just
oh yeah, he's got the E-boy choker.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
So what's become of Luca since we left?
Blitzball's out.
It feels like going to the Wells Fargo Center, but everyone's just playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is, actually.
That'd be pretty sick, honestly.
Blitzball's out. No one cares about Blitzball anymore. Me and my homies hate it. Sphere Break, that shit is in. That shit is so cool. All my homies playing Sphere Break. If you're not, who are you? You're nothing. You're no one.
I didn't catch the relevance of this until just now because I haven't really done anything with Sphere Break yet, but on the way to, I think, the Sphere Theater, you can find a man mansplaining it to his like girlfriend or whatever, and it's so funny because you'll hear.
Do we have to do
talking.
that meme of the guy talking to that girl or whatever, but with the FF10 boxes?
Yeah, he's just a film bro. He's just like over explaining Spheres. Like you just don't get it.
I'm putting everything I've got into this explanation, but she's just not getting it. And then you talk to her, and she said, "I just asked one simple question," and it's like sphere theory is not something you can explain in a few short words. Now this guy's going on and on about some boring theory. I was just like, fuck yeah, dude. Dude's rock.
Good. But yeah, you do find...
Yeah, but they do say, like, in the off-season, people are too laid back to work. Then once the season starts, people are too keyed up to work. So you can never win in Luca. It's ball is life.
In one of the locker rooms that you could access in Final Fantasy X, now that I think about it, you will find Ren there, our special boy.
It's kind of the hallway outside of the locker rooms.
That's true. But Ren's there from Final Fantasy X, the guy who owns all the travel agencies that we would like stop.
Albed.
That's right.
Voiced by Tom Kenny, doing a weird accent.
That's right. That's right.
One of the many voices that Tom Kenny does in this game.
Lady Una.
Yeah. But we see him. He is he's kind of caught the Sphere Break fever a little bit, and nothing really happens. He just kind of like says hello, asks what we've been up to, etc. Right? It's always good to see him.
Going out of my mind. Sorry, that's Pac-Man Fever.
That's okay, Alex. I was distracted by my screenshots, which there's someone with real Sheryl Crow energy on the way back to like throughout Luca in the place where we were handing out balloons. She says, "I don't care if it's Blitz or a concert or whatever. I just want to do something fun."
Love that. But that's all I got in Luca. Anything else?
Yeah. So do we want to get into what's it called? Sphere.
Me and Hyra. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Sphere Blitz or whatever.
We can get
because I did not do any of that. I was walking around and talking to people, and I knew that it wasn't like the full tutorial or anything. They're just like putting out some breadcrumbs for you and stuff.
Tell you what.
Then I was like, okay, let me do the tutorial. And then they were like, to get to if you want to learn about it, really, you got to go to the left hallway. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. I'm going to the fucking me and High Road.
Tell you what, let's wait till chapter 3 and then let's have a Sphere Break extravaganza.
Yeah, Sphere Break Breakdown.
A Sphere Breakdown. All I can say is that it's good, but it's not really good.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people say it's one of the worst minigames, and it's kind of like, well, they're kind of right, but it's fun to add small numbers together, so it's actually good.
This would make a good mobile game.
Yeah, oh my god, it's like one of those mobile games where it's like Mario with a giant ass walking through the numbers, and he walks through like the times 10.
It's like a shredded knight who's just in like a pair of big boobahs for no reason.
Right. Yeah,
it's like about to get like eaten in a really weird vorway, and then he gets thrown into like the desert and has to go and collect guns. And then you see like the community notes, and it's like gameplay is nothing like this.
Actually, I forgot what it was called.
I forgot what that game was called too.
One of the people, I think, dev teams that was like behind Katamari Damacy made a like cheap like minigame collection that was called "Oh, you want to play those games?"
Oh,
so
right,
we made
I
them.
heard about that. That actually seems really, really fucking cool.
They basically like we made the games from the ads.
That's so smart. Yeah, I feel like we have some exciting news here on the podcast as well. We are actually sponsored, and this episode's coming to you thanks to the good people at Merge Mansion, where if you want to find out what Grandma's been up to, what's Grandma's secret, you have to download Merge Mansion on the apps on Google Play Store. Have you guys seen those commercials? Those ads?
They're a roller coaster.
The fucking predatory nature of just mobile apps and like the trailers are like it's I feel like it should be taught in classes if it's not already, like how to draw in impressionable minds to like want to play your shitty fucking what's it called, microtransaction game or whatever. But like at the same time I kind of want to play Merge Mansion and just like learn all the lore and like if I could do that on stream I think I would, because it probably fucking sucks, but it would probably be pretty funny too.
Luckily, the developers of this game, Final Fantasy X-2, Square Enix, would never make a mobile game with microtransactions in it. So
yes, of
they
course.
would never do
featuring lovable characters that everyone knows and loves.
Mm-hmm. And then get you to spend real money to be able to unlock them. They would never. So, you can either go back to the Celsius and then take the and then have Buddy teleport you to Mihin High Road, or you can leave Luca via the stairs, back where the Titus laughing scene was.
Mm-hmm.
And either way, we can make it to the Mihin High Road and see a very short scene that starts here.
Yeah. Real quick, I didn't realize that you could just walk back to Luca or walk to the Mihin High Road from Luca. Every single time up until this point, I was just going to the airship and going everywhere else. It was like there's a save sphere right at those stairs, and I'm just like, to the airship, to the Mihin High Road, and then I like went all the way down the Mihin High Road. I was like, yo, fuck this. Walked all the way back, hit this save sphere.
Oh, you walked
again.
all the way back.
And I was like, oh, okay, nice. And then I was like, what's down here? And I went down there and I was just in Luke and I was like, God fucking damn it, I'm an idiot. I forgot how the 90% of the first game, how traveling works in it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's a very short scene where Yuna just kind of like surveys the entrance and talks about how she walked this road on her pilgrimage all those years ago.
Reminiscing.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing really too insightful about what she says here.
Except that it was a journey filled with laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curtis, what could be more insightful than laughter with your friends?
I'm so sorry.
Cold-hearted Curtis.
It's a reference to the laughing.
What?
Yeah, it's true.
She was doing this journey. It was filled with the laughter. Some of the people who were laughing were men, so it was man's laughter. Nothing's wrong with man's laughter.
Man's laughter, of course. I do like a little stinger if you do go the airship route. There's no mission in the Mihin High Road. There is a 0.2% increase if you go here, so that's why we're telling you to. But it says chocobos used to be the main mode of transportation on the high road, but they're gone now that everyone's using Machina. And a lot of like the incidental dialogue here will kind of allude to that as well, where people will be like, well, there was a lot of fucking monsters that would just eat chocobos, like if you remember the chocobo eater.
Nobody wants to work anymore.
No one wants to work anymore, you son of a bitch.
But yeah, they also have what are they called, like floaters or something, like hovers.
They're just the aircrafts like you see when you're going like gator hunting in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Also, what are those little freaking droids that are hanging out like to the right of the screen?
The episode 1 ass droids.
Yeah, there's these little robots just kind of sitting there. You can't talk
I
to
think
them,
when you talk to some people, they'll say like, oh, for like the smaller fiends that we've set up like Sentry, or for the bigger fiends we set up Sentry Machina to take them down. And there's people talking about working on different Machina to protect the people trying to go down the high road.
And no spoilers, but I will say all of that incidental dialogue about talking about like how the high road is set up now. And how those like small Machina like protect people from the weaker fiends and stuff. Put a pin in all of that and just like save that in your mind for way fucking later in the game. Like
Nice.
chapter 5 shit.
Nice.
But it's really fun how it's really fun how Mihin High Road ends up in chapter 5 if you pay attention to every little bit of dialogue along the way.
I feel like I want to make a joke prediction, and then I'm like, well, I already did that once this podcast, and apparently was right on. So I don't want to say that there's a war of chocobos versus Machina when we come back in chapter 5, and we have to
Luckily
choose a
not
side.
that.
We have
Not
to choose
that.
a side, and if we choose the wrong one, then we get locked out of 100%.
probably like the oil industry or some shit.
We do get to relive the movie Clue in the world of Final Fantasy X too. That's what I will
Fuck
say.
yes, dude. Hell yeah.
But yeah, so Mihin High Road, right? Importantly, no chocobos this time. Lots of Machina running around. It's very long, just as it was last time. And
Not as springy. No jaw harp to be heard
boing, boing.
anywhere. Song here is pretty good though.
this is a great place to level up. And I know that when we got the Black Mage dress
The
sphere,
difficulty said it was pretty spicy here.
it can get pretty spicy here. This is why I was saying, like,
This is where I got my ass kicked unless I had Orin in last game.
Yeah.
This is why I was saying earlier, like, I like grabbing the ethers and elixirs and all those that I can grab at the beginning of the game, because what I like to do is set one of my characters to be a black mage for the entirety of chapter 1, and then run the entire Mihin High Road. Just like, don't warp, just walk one end to the other. And by the time you get to the end, if you are constantly using your black mage, you can have one of the Aga spells before you get to Mushroom Rock Road.
Oh, nice.
And that will just devastate everything for like several hours into the game. So, but you will run out of MP. So that's why I was like, yeah, go ahead and use those elixirs, use those ethers early. You probably won't need them as much later anyway. But so if you are wanting to level up along the way, the game's not hard. You don't need to like power level or anything like that. But if you do want to be like extra prepared for the things coming up, this is a really good way to do it, because the Mihin High Road's pretty long. The enemies give a lot of experience. Some of them are pretty tough, but they're not undoable. And by the end, you can have a black mage who's just incredibly souped up.
Yeah, we can run into like iron giants or iron golems or whatever they're called in this. Which can really fuck you up. Luckily, what I was doing, just kind of exploring around, I didn't do the whole walk the entire thing, because I was like, oh, this is clearly telling me that I'm not ready to be here, so I don't feel like fucking doing this. I had two warriors, Riku and Pain, and they just kept doing power breaks, so like I wasn't getting hurt all that bad, and then I just had Yuna doing some spells here and there, but I don't think I really leveled up any of the black magic until the next area.
You know, I like to try to keep all of my characters different jobs just for the aesthetic of having three different jobs. But I feel like the Black Mage and 2 Warriors is like such a good build out. Like that's
the positive
so
side is that every single aesthetic in this game fucking rocks. So
it's true. It's true.
Hell yeah.
if I was going just pure fashion souls, it would just be 3 black mages. Because come on, let's go. Like
Big agree.
3
Big
witch
agree.
hats, big floppy witch hats.
Can't
best.
beat it.
Can't beat it.
But yeah, that team of a Black Mage and 2 Warriors is like unbeatable right now.
I wonder, Curtis, you said that we should put a pin about the Mihin High Road. I'm wondering if there's an allusion to that even now, more so than we already had, because if we go back to the ship and talk to Riku and Pain, Riku says, hey, how come there weren't any chocobos on the high road? But Pain says something interesting that I didn't think of anything of, but she says, I'm glad we made it back before dusk. I don't like the high road sunset.
Oh.
I don't know if that's relevant, but I will also put a pin in that and then see if it becomes relevant.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just kind of like we watched the sunset in that very fucking sad scene in the first one. Maybe it's a callback to that.
Yeah.
It's a dog shit of a sunset.
It's just a fucking terrible fucking sunset. We can see
I do like the idea that like
item
Pain
in the distance that we can't get until later, and it's like
Yeah,
Riku's
that's right.
weapon or whatever bullshit.
I like the idea that Pain just doesn't like shit. Like,
yeah, that's
things
true.
are like-
That's pretty. Yeah.
Yo, you ever seen Flowers? Fuck those guys.
These things fucking suck.
They won't shut up.
They would shut up. Yeah. Nothing else happens in Mihin High Road though. There's nothing else to like care about.
Yeah,
right
you can
now.
get some chests with Phoenix
That's
Downs
right.
and
That
shit.
Blitzball, who maybe was a kid, long gone.
Damn. So sad.
That's right. But the next area we can go to is
The next area we can go to is any area in the game.
that's true.
The next area we're going to go to is Mushroom Rock Road.
But before we do,
My favorite Mario Kart level.
though, would you like to make sure that we don't miss some completion points and rest in the cabin?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to go pound down a couple ethers with Barkeep.
That's right.
Which I actually do want to talk about Barkeep real quick. We might have even already mentioned this and I already forgot, but I really like what he says each time.
Oh,
He says,
What can I do for you?
what can I do for you? Yeah, it's very cute. Yeah, I like to think that he just heard that song and it really stuck with him and he's like, oh, I'm just going to reference her song. That'll make her like me.
Maybe she wrote it because of him.
Oh, yeah. Well, did she write it? Or did LeBlanc write it?
I think. Oh,
Curtis,
that's a good
quick,
point.
can you break out your notes about who wrote that song again and then just give us the
That's right. Yeah.
rundown again?
Yeah, I did actually write down who wrote that. But
Anyway,
don't
we'll
remember.
be back in a few.
we'll be back in a few.
Toodaloo.
What can I do for you?
So we're on the Mihin High Road.
In the time of YRP, I was a Moogle.
Soy. Yeah, Mushroom Rock Road, right?
Shit, lumpy.
That shit lumpy as ever. Actually extra lumpy right now, I would say.
I hated navigating this area because, like, some caves I was supposed to find were just not very visible. It's all rock to me.
Yeah. When you say caves, I feel like I only found one. I hope there weren't multiple that I needed to find.
Well, we'll get into the geography momentarily, but
So this is where I got completely slaughtered by the Mega Sisters last game.
Yeah,
That's right,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
they just- Also where we, I guess, first met Seymour. No, second. I guess we saw Seymour, but we've actually met him like
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I remember this ramp. This
I definitely
little-
remember this road.
But yeah, we are along the cliffside portion of the road, where we're like facing the ocean on one side, on our right, and like a
I feel like this would be a good area for like some sort of operation. Sometimes.
yeah, Operation
Maybe.
something with Mihin in
Something.
it. But when we first arrive, we see Ormi and Logos are already like off in the distance, running away from our location. They're not running away from us, but they are running towards something. And like anytime we see them, we're like, they're up to no good. What are those assholes doing?
Yeah, it's those creeps again.
Yeah, that's what Riku says.
It's our turn to do the following.
That's right.
Yeah.
So our
Which
plan is to
actually
follow
just
them.
reminded me last time when Gagazet, they followed us to Gagazet, but does that mean they have a ship of their own?
I would assume they probably do.
I don't know.
They have some sort of
I
transport.
think it'd be very easy to lose them if we had a ship and they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. That actually kind of makes me think that maybe they do deserve it more than we do.
they just see the Celsius screaming across the sky, like, oh, that way.
Maybe they have like a big hot air balloon where the balloon is shaped like Meowth.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, we did see hot air balloons a couple of moments ago. So
That's true.
Yeah, it could be them.
But
They have a fucking Magikarp submarine that they took. It's just
That's
parked on
right,
the
yeah.
shore.
No wonder they're fucking broke all the time.
but yeah, we take the road for a little ways, and there's a complement of people like standing around the entrance to like Greater Mushroom Rock Road to the area where the camp was in Final Fantasy X, right before Operation Mihin, right? And one of the soldiers there steps forward and is like, "Oh my gosh, Lady Una, it's good to see you again. You haven't forgotten me, have you?" And I'm gonna be real with you both. Having done an entire season of Final Fantasy X, I don't remember what his deal is in Final Fantasy X.
He's not in 10.
absolutely forgot about.
Oh, is he not in 10?
He's in Eternal Calm.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
He comes running up, and he's I think we mentioned on it because like, oh wait, this is the voice of Robin from Teen Titans.
Right.
Okay.
And Lloyd from
This is Eyeball
from Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah.
It's a very good voice.
Yeah,
He
luckily
sounds young and old at the same time.
I wish I had this prompt in front of me anytime I met anyone that I've met before.
A binary choice of I forget.
Sorry,
and
but
the
no.
one name.
Yeah, sorry, but I have forgotten you, or you're Yibel of the Youth League. It reminds me of a thing that I saw a post the other day that was just like, I should be able to Google things that are more important to me, like what does my neighbor do for a job?
I kind of wish they had like a wrong name as an option.
Yeah, that would have been so fucked up.
They do what Wild Arms 2 did when you find the dog that you took care of like 4 years earlier, and it's like, you remember the dog's name, right? And you have to type it in.
The ending of this game is like the fucking ending of Banjo-Kazooie, where you just have to do a fucking game show quiz.
Oh god, slamming on the floor.
Yeah.
Like on a keyboard.
But yeah, so either way, whether you remember his name or not, there's a little bit of an introduction to him that he is Yibel of the Youth League, and he says that they are in the middle of a sphere hunt of their own. Mm-hmm. And he's like gonna give you like it's kind of like the Youth League is a little militaristic, I guess, for being like the non-Bavel,
religious,
non-Yevonites, right? They're kind of like this like group that separates to be a little more free. They're still pretty like militant in a weird way. Or like you know what I'm trying to say, like
yeah. I feel like they're trying to they're doing the fucking what is it, Robert's rules or whatever. Of assembly, right. And like.
But he starts giving a speech where he's like, "We, the Youth League," and that's literally all he gets out before he goes, "Take it, Clasco!"
Yeah,
and like Clasco's in the last game. Yes, he was doing.
Yeah. Was he the one who could have died? I forget who is the one who could have died.
No, that was.
Clasco was the one who was following
Emil or
the Chocobo Knights.
Remember? Yeah, Lucille.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that though. There was a guy who like could die.
Every time. Oh, go ahead.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh frick. Yeah, they're from the.
Let me just type in who dies in Final Fantasy X and see what comes up. I think when we were talking about this on the season for Final Fantasy X, I think I said I will never forget.
Oh, they're from the Crusaders, right? It is,
I will never forget this brave Crusader who died in the war against sin. Or
a couple years later, like, who the fuck?
Who the fuck was that dude?
It was Luzu and Gata were the ones you're thinking of.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That's not what you said the name of the announcers were.
No, that's Bada and Jimma.
Jimma, right.
Come on, Alex.
I was making sure Curtis didn't get it wrong.
No, all these names are stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
So Gata or Luzu may be dead in this game, but I'm not sure if they show up in 10-2. So it will be interesting to see if there's like a canonical outcome.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well. But anyway, Clasco's here.
They just both dance around like, oh yeah, something happened, but I'm glad we're all fine now.
Yeah,
they're just both alive.
But yeah, Clasco finishes the.
He's real emphatic about it. You can tell he fucking loves it. He's to better understand our Spear's past. How to remain vigilant of our search for ruins and spheres. Yeah. Another good shot of Riku, very animated face after that.
Super high polygon count Riku makes a return.
Yeah,
where she goes, "That's enough. Those two guys are getting away." And then
or Clasco, I guess he just like gave up on the Chocobo breeding from last.
I think he talks about that a bit later on. He kind of talks about how everything he's ever wanted to do, he's failed at, and I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty relatable, buddy.
Yeah,
he's like, I can't find my calling. Everything I've tried, I fucked up because I'm a fucking loser and I fucking suck.
He's just like me for real.
I think the choice that you can get later on too, Yuna can literally call him a loser.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But Payne asks if LeBlanc's men have gone through here, and Yibel explains it like, well, we're kind of in the middle of a mission right now. We're like kind of doing like this fiend cleaned up. We want to get back to our headquarters, but there's been a fog that's rolled in, and whenever the fog gets thick, all these fiends come out, and we got to do something about them, right?
Fuck that fog.
So basically, he kind of like in so many
Stephen
words.
King's The Mist.
The mist has happened. We're stuck in that car at the very end of the scene.
Oh yeah.
They have 2 bullets between Yunariku and Pain. Anyway, so he basically enlists us into cleaning out the fiends and making it to the headquarters, right?
Yeah.
And along the way, we can do a little bit of searching for LeBlanc's men. Now, 100% completion notice. You must talk to Clasco before you go on this quest.
Yes.
So, like, as soon as you say, like, all right, we'll go ahead and do this little mission for you. We'll run to the new Yevon, not Yevon, I'm sorry, the Youth League headquarters. You'll have like a screen's worth.
Did you say headquarters?
Who knows? I'm tired. Anyway. So before we get to the headquarters, there's 1 screen worth of time.
Sending Clasco to The Hague, dude.
There's 1 screen worth of time where you can talk to Clasco, and you need to talk to him here because his speech that he gives you, or his like box of dialogue, counts for completion. And if you miss it here, you'll miss 100% completion.
Well and balanced.
Yeah, just the way it was meant to be.
This is such a weird little path.
It's interesting too because I think in the guide, I think it kind of threw me off as well. Because it says, speak to Clasco before attempting the mission, but you get a choice of like, sure, we're game or not right now. And I'm like paralyzed by fear. I'm like, if I say not right now, does that lock me out completely? Like, do I have to reload a save or something? But I think you say like, sure, we're game. And then you can start the mission. Then you talk to Clasco.
That's right.
Which I think what I ended up doing was like wandering around and looking for him or something, and like went in one direction and like went back a screen and then came back and then talked to them again, and they just gave me like the full spiel again.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I think it was at this point. Yeah.
For me, I said not right now, and Clasco's just to the right instead of to the left, and that's really the only thing that changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can talk to him before or after you actually like start the mission.
But either way, he says he followed Captain Lucille into the youth league when she joined, but now he's just being a tour guide and he hates his life, and he's like, I don't know where I went wrong, I just want to ride chocobos. And so he's just being a sad sack, right? And that's all the dialogue we need from him.
All I want is to ride on a chocobo faster than the wind.
Faster than the wind.
It's like, dude, I rode chocobos in the Calmlands last time we covered this fucking game. You don't want to do that shit. That shit
You don't want to do
that. That shit's terrible.
You have to get less than a 0 time to be able to get Tidus' final weapon. Shit blows.
What's the thing with these giant constructs lumbering around too?
Oh, like the enemies that can kick you out of battle in Final Fantasy X?
Yeah.
I mean those ones? I think
They were
it's just
in
more of like the
FF10.
fiend protection.
There's just a giant one just like hanging out on the overworld that you can't interact with that comes through this area sometimes.
I think those belong to the youth league.
Yeah, I think it's like that's supposed to help with the fiends, like from me and High Road as well.
I gotcha.
And but the ones that kick you, I think we first discovered them in Bevel,
right.
and will kick you out of battle or whatever.
Yeah.
The way that one moves is really fucking funny because it has its leg up in like the teep position, like it's gonna fucking kick you, but
Right.
it's running with just one leg, so it's just kind of hopping.
It's limping.
Just got a bunch of these Boston Dynamic ass fucking shit.
I think that is kind of a thing that you're maybe supposed to notice between Final Fantasy X and X-2. Is that in 10, like only the Albed used Machina, and it was like taboo to use Machina. Waka gave Seymour shit when he was considering using Machina against Sin.
In
and
Operation
now,
Mihan, right?
Yeah, and now after the defeat of Sin, Machina is like in widespread use between everybody, right? So like the different areas of the game, the different factions, they all use Machina now, since we know that was never the point.
Everyone in all of Spira is now printing to PDF.
But once we enter Mushroom Rock proper, we get our mission time screen.
Can I tell you all, when I was a little kid, I'm still such a fucking idiot, but like I was especially an idiot as a small child, and I could not figure out why the encounter rate was so high in this area. I was like, what is happening? Why is there a battle every step of the way?
Is it just because of the fog or whatever? Or?
That's what it is. So
Okay.
that's the mission. The mission is the fog rolls in and out. You cannot proceed when the fog is thick, because if you take even a single step, you'll get into an encounter. And so when I was a kid, but I was like fucking like 16 or something like that, too old to know better.
I am nearing 34 years old, and I just played this today. I'm a bit of a gamer, and I didn't even fucking realize that. And I do want to point that out because the mission says, Foggy Fiend Frenzy. The Youth League is a bit shorthanded. Help them out by clearing out the fiends along Mushroom Rock Road. Fiends will attack more often under cover of fog. Proceed with caution. It literally tells you right there.
It literally tells you.
I don't have fucking time to wait. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I just interpret it as in like, oh, because the fog faded as I went up the lift. Like, oh, I guess the fog's just at lower altitudes.
Yeah, I thought it was like there were certain areas that I didn't know that it dissipated. I just
it's timed.
ran
I thought the higher you were, that there was less fog. That's kind of how I interpret it.
It's timed.
I was just like, yeah, more.
If
witch
you wait till it's
unit.
clear, if you wait till it's clear, like each time, and you stop moving when the fog rolls in, you'll maybe fight 1 or 2 encounters the entire time you're here.
Oh, interesting.
But
Wow.
if you're like me and you try to move constantly when the fog is at its thickest when I was younger, you'll get like 100+ battles here. It's crazy.
I had a bunch of potions. I ran into a lot of battles. I gained a lot of black magic levels and shit, so I didn't really mind it.
Did you run into an especially hard fight?
I did on my way back, which I will talk about. But if you
okay.
want to bring one up, go right ahead.
I ran.
I stayed and fought.
I also stayed and fought.
So
I
there's
assume we're talking about the same thing.
I assume we're
it
talking
now.
about a little short green guy with a
Kermit.
knife. Kermit the Frog. Yeah, Tomberries show up here, and they're assholes.
He just goes right for you. He's not slow at all.
Now, I have at this point, with my accessories on and my levels, just enough HP, and he's relatively consistent. His rolls are like not real wide. He does like within a certain amount of damage every time he hits. I had enough HP with every character that I could I could take 3 hits. And Tonberry, he's a bit faster this time, I think, than a lot of games. Tonberry is. He takes his turn pretty quick.
Less powerful, but faster, so essentially just more powerful.
Yeah, right. So basically, every time I saw that he was getting ready to stab a character who was not at full health, I just queued up a potion, and that kept all my characters alive. But the fight went on for like 20 minutes. He has so much fucking HP. It's crazy.
So long. I did it after we do all the Youth League stuff. After we talk to a certain NPC that we'll be talking about, probably for a while. And I found I was like, oh, you know what? Let me try and do this. I did something that was probably really ill-advised in this fight against the Tonberry, which was I used an elixir because that's how fucking desperate I got.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I
was like, I always fall for elixir syndrome where I'm like, I have to save it until the end of the game and then I never use it. I have a good use for it here. I'm going to use it. And then I looked up how to get elixirs in this game and I was like, fuck, I think I just fucked myself.
No, that's
I
fine.
might need those later. Okay.
I used an elixir, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Or at
I had
least
to use it on
ethers,
Riku
so.
though, which sucks because like my black mage was Yuna and she had like 2 MP left and I was like, well, so
Osmos doesn't work on him, by the way, or like MP
Trigger
Drain.
Happy doesn't work on him, which I was trying to do with Yuna because I'm like, I need to get chains off. I wasn't really doing too much with the black magic spells because I only had the second level of some of them. But during that fight, I did level up a shit ton more and get more and some of the I think I got level 2 of everything now and was just rattling them off.
Like I said, I went through Mihan High Road. So I had Firaga at this point. So my strategy, I didn't figure this out at first. It took me like a little while of thinking and a little while of fighting to be like, I'm bored of this. I need this to go faster. Mm-hmm. So I ended up making Pain and Riku into thieves. And then I would wait until Yuna said the line, because she always says a line before she casts magic. So Yuna's turn is coming up
Where
next.
there's smoke.
Yeah, where there's smoke. So she's getting ready to cast when she says the line. That means like the enemy is not getting ready to take their turn. And thieves attack twice every time they attack. So I'd wait until I hear the line. I'd queue up Riku and Pain, and they would do a 4-chain, and then I would hit with Firaga, and it would do just
really
shitload
smart.
of damage.
I was trying to do that, and I couldn't get the timing down because I had 2 warriors, and that's why initially I tried Trigger Happy, because I was like, I'm out of MP, I need to chain, and I'll go just full attack. But Trigger Happy doesn't actually queue up a chain on Tonberry. So I thought you just couldn't chain Tonberry at all. I'm like, that makes sense. This is a really hard enemy. Why would? And then it wasn't until like 3 minutes of just like going really hard into the battle that I realized you could chain, and I was like, fuck, I just like wasted so much time not chaining.
I did run out of like MP and MP restoratives though during this?
I ran out of Phoenix Downs. I ran out of potions.
God.
I think Pain died and was just not like, we finished the fight with Pain dead and I couldn't revive her, so I just had to run all the way back to the save state, and like I was just like constantly throwing. I ran out of potions and I was just like, oh my god, dude, this is rough. First thing I did when I got back to the airship was I just bought a fuck ton of potions and Phoenix Downs from Barkeep.
I did game over here and had to redo the whole interaction. Well, I guess it just mashed through the interaction. But.
Yeah, the way I eventually like that still wasn't, even with that strategy, that wasn't enough to beat it. This fight still took like 20 fucking minutes, and at the end of it, what I ended up doing is just going 3 warriors and just had them just constantly smacking away, and eventually took him down.
Yeah,
whacking, hacking.
Power break also doesn't work on him and stuff. So
no,
you just gotta like he's rough. I was able to steal some gil from him, and I stole I think like 907 gil, which is a pretty good amount. Like I think the most that I've had throughout here. Like I just got a chest that was like 1,000 for free, but it reminds me of Final Fantasy X. Like the first time, because it's like, oh, there's just no gil anywhere here.
This might also be a good time to talk about a mechanic that exists in Final Fantasy X too. I don't know if either of you saw it. I didn't see it yet because I didn't really take that many fights this time. But if you took a lot of fights on your way through Mushroom Rock Road, you may have seen something called oversouling.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes, I have. And I did not understand it until like deep into this area, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. So if you defeat the same enemy a set number of times, the next time you encounter it, it will be an exceptionally strong version of that fiend. And sometimes they can be
in red text, which is what I know.
Sometimes
why is this name
assholes.
in red? Why is this coyote and why is its name red? And I was like, oh my god, my autopilot of just attacking is not working. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Now, and depending, like, if you're like a true completionist, right? You want to finish, you want to get 100%, you want to do both sides of the story, you want to get all the creature creator stuff, etc., etc. Bosses can oversoul on multiple playthroughs. So if you do like your second, third playthrough, you might get to a difficult boss, and then it's oversouled as well.
Oh my god.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty sick. That's a cool mechanic. I like it.
It's neat. I do like it. But depending on what the enemy is, sometimes that just means run. Like, you just can't take the oversold version right now.
Yeah.
But I just mean, like, this would not be a good time or place to farm tonberries, because God forbid you run into an oversold tonberry.
Oh
it would be the end for you.
Oh my god, I'm looking at so a normal Tomberry would have 4 9s of HP. The oversold one has almost 40,000 instead of 10,000.
Yeah, and we're not doing enough damage to do quad 9s just yet. Like Curtis said, like 20 minutes. It's like penance levels almost of doing things just early in the game with a normal enemy. But this is actually where I learned the healing wind sphere grid, because I was like, I feel like Yuna should have cure. I'm all out of potions. I need something. Like, I'm running very low on HP. I need to make it back. And that's when I was like, okay, healing wind, use Cura or a cure or whatever I had on Riku and Yuna, get up to full, and then fucking run. And then every time I got into an encounter, I just escaped, and I was like, I made it back. I was like, thank fucking God.
So in Mushroom Rock Road, there are 2 different paths, right? There's an upper path and a lower path, and the lower path we see Logos and Ormi take as we're running around in the fog, right?
Yeah, we kind of see them around a corner and chase them.
Right.
Yeah, and if we're paying attention to the mini map, our destination is on the higher path, but obviously we want to follow them and see what kind of fucking sphere shit they're trying to get.
Right. And they enter into like a little alcove, I guess. And we stumble upon them, and there's a little cutscene that begins. And it shows them kind of like, there's like a bunch of spheres scattered at their feet.
Just looks like materia.
Yeah, and they're standing in front of what looks like a door, probably, or like some kind of wall with.
It looks like a cloister door. Like, there's a bunch of fucking spheres we got to put in there, but you can only hold 1 and you cannot hold 2. And
yeah, right. Except
my assumption is that they just plucked all the spheres from the wall, and that's like because They almost look like they were sockets or something, and
They are, yeah.
They just yanked them all off and was like, we don't know what to do with these.
Yeah, so what it is it is a door with multiple sockets, and they're fitting different spheres into it, trying to be like, how do you open this door, right?
Oh.
Trying to brute force a combination lock.
Yeah, because when we get to them, they're like, oh, this one doesn't work, nor does this one. Like, what are we supposed to do here? And I like the Gullwings just very like casually, very friendly, sneak up on them and are just like, hey, what are you doing? like there's no like, haha, we found you, or like, hand over those spheres. They're just like, yo, what are you up to?
Really, really funny scene of them like scrambling to like pick up the spheres.
Yeah, they're like, oh,
we
shit,
gotta get out of here, dude. Fuck.
The Gullwings are here.
We got Amscray.
But yeah, they throw like a smoke bomb down. They disappear.
Oh, they don't throw a smoke bomb down.
No, okay, fair enough.
Logos points his big ass fucking gun to the ground and fires it, and like that is what causes a flash, and it's essentially like a smoke bomb, but he's got like a flare gun or something. It's really funny.
But they neglect to pick up all of their spheres, and they accidentally leave one behind, right?
Yeah,
and that is Crimson Sphere number 9.
My favorite Lou Bega song.
Dun, 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 dun. But when we grab it, before we're able to do anything with it, before we're able to like view it as a record, an individual walks into the alcove, right? With us.
Yeah, like Yuna like touches the door a little bit, and we get kind of like a cutscene of one of the spheres. There's like, it looks like 9 of them.
That's missable. You could do that if you wanted.
Oh, maybe. Oh, okay.
I didn't do it.
I didn't know that. I just went back and watched it on the ship. I didn't know you could watch it now.
Oh yeah, no. So you can kind of just touch the door and it activates a little bit, but it looks like one of the 9 like sphere things on the door activates, and then you can't do anything. And then just in the like entryway that we just came in, there's a shadowy figure.
I got you. Yeah,
right.
And this individual also gives us a questionnaire. Do we remember him? Right.
Yes.
And I think yes, I do remember him. I remember who he was with. Okay.
These were the traveling. The traveling summoners, right?
So,
or they were escorting like one of the summoners.
They were escorting Isaru, because this is Maroda. He was one of the guardians of Isaru, who we fought below Bavel, and I think he had Bahamut or something. No, we had just got Bahamut, and he had other summons, and we had to do a summon fight with him.
Yeah, we had to do a Pokemon battle. I
remember that fight was really good because that guy, that summoner, Isaru, was like real posy the entire game.
He was like a total homie, guy. And then he was just like, "Up."
He's like, "I am going to murder Yuna in this sewer."
Yeah. But funny that all happened, and I did not remember it all. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna lie to this guy. It doesn't tell me what his name is, so I can't remember hearing that name before. And I just said, "I'm afraid not." And he said, yeah, no big deal.
Oh, what a homie.
We just tried to kill each other with our summons, but it's me, Maroda, Isaru and Pase's brother.
Okay, very good.
Yuna says, "How have you been?" which she says like as a response to everyone who asks if she remembers them.
Yeah, he says he's joined up with the youth league and he's staying busy. Yuna says she's a sphere hunter now, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that rules. That's really cool." His little brother, Pase, is now also a sphere hunter. He started his own sphere hunting group called the Kinderguardians. It's very cute.
Mm-hmm, very cute.
Wait, it's been 3 years, so is he still... How old is that kid now?
Probably like 9 now.
Look, if he's in 2nd grade, it's okay. He can still call it the Kinderguardians. It's fine.
Okay. Maybe he's just stayed back.
I like how
he got held
He
back.
missed a few years being a freaking guardian or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Maroda says the Youth League discovered this place, It's called the Den of Woe.
Yeah.
It was sealed around the time of Operation Mihan. And
yeah,
Yuna's
importantly,
like,
he goes into that explanation after she asks how Isaru is.
And Yuna's just like, and Isaru? And he's like, but... the seal can supposedly be broken with the right combination of spheres. And Yuna's just like clearly he's avoiding that topic. Yeah, and he says, I'm afraid this place is off limits until we can conduct a more thorough investigation. So I'll have to ask you to leave. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then if you try to talk to him again, he just keeps saying it's off limits, which I like how everyone's apologetic to Yuna.
If you try to talk to him a second time, he does say Isaru ... hasn't changed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then he goes back to saying, yeah, this place is off limits.
So Isaru is probably with New Yevon or whatever, is what I would imagine.
I guess we'll just have to see.
Probably.
I actually love the answer to that, so I'm excited for you all to see the answer to that one.
Nice.
But then we can double back. We can go back to where the paths diverge. We can get onto the upper path and take it to the elevator at the end of Mushroom Rock Road and ride it up to the entrance of the New Yevon headquarters. And there's a third character who walks up and says like, "Hey, I remember you. How are you, Lady Yuna?" Except this time we don't get the option to be like, "I remember you" or not.
She does the thing everyone should do, which is reintroduce yourself. It's been 2 fucking years. Come on.
Exactly.
Yuna knows a lot this
Right.
Yuna's been doing a lot of psychedelic drugs in the interim. Her brain cells aren't quite what they were.
But this is Elma.
Hell yeah.
If you'll remember from Final Fantasy X-2, she was part of the 10-2. If you remember from Final Fantasy X, she was part of the Chocobo Knights with Lucille and Clasco.
We stand them quite hard.
She destroyed the Chocobo Eater.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
If we fail to.
yeah. If you fail to do it, she's the one who destroys the Chocobo Eater. But yeah, so she says she's joined the youth league, gives you access to the elevator to take it up to the headquarters. And that's about it, right? But after we talk to her, we actually get like a battle victory screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the mission was to reach the elevator.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which we did.
But for finishing it, we get the glass buckle, which I did not look at what it does. I'm sorry.
Glass buckle.
We also get the Heart of Flame garment grid.
Indeed, we do. Which I'm going to type into my search bar right now.
The glass buckle is an add-on that provides +1 strength and magic. Oh, sorry. No, that's a 9. The glass buckle is an accessory that provides +8 defense and +8 magic defense.
Okay.
And prevents poison and sleep.
Yeah, I put that right on Yuna.
The Heart of the Flame garment grid, upon equipping it, gives you the access to use fire as magic. And it also bestows automatic fire eater. So that's cool. It can't be hit by fire. And then it has nodes on it, which if you pass them through switching garments, will grant you access to Fire Strike, Fira, and Firaga.
Nice. You can still talk to Elma before going on the elevator. There's a lot of like incidental dialogue about like the leader of the youth league, Maven Nuge. Nuge. But
I think we've heard that name briefly.
We have, yeah. We've mentioned Nuge so far.
Nuge.
But he's
not of Nuge Yevon.
Elma says that he's cool, smart, everything you could ask for. She also says, Lady Yuna, that new look is so you. Definitely a change for the better, which I feel like is a really backhanded compliment. To be like, hey, like it's one thing to be like, dude, your outfit's looking fucking great fit tonight, you're looking fresh, but to be like, it's definitely an improvement for the better. To be like, you usually look like shit, Yuna. I'm glad that you look cool as hell now with guns and stuff.
Guns out. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elma is a captain of Maven Nuge's elite guard, and then someone like the person who's explaining that is like, well, actually, it's closer to a fan club than an elite guard. I don't think Maven Nuge even knows he has an elite guard.
Yeah, he's a little aloof. But there's also a treasure chest down here that gives you the favorite outfit accessory.
Oh yeah,
which
I was blown away by what this does.
Yeah.
The favorite garment guards against Itchy, which I have no fucking idea what Itchy is, and I'm excited to get to it eventually, I guess.
Itchy is a status effect that it basically makes it so that the only command you can take is switching dress spheres.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it forces you into another one, which
that's really funny.
The thing is, like, if you switch into another garment or another dress sphere, the ATB does pause. Yeah. And then you could immediately switch back into the one that you were just in with no time loss whatsoever. So really it just ends up being more of an annoyance than anything.
An annoyance, or just a like, okay, well now I get a +5 buff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But whatever. So we can take the elevator up and go to the headquarters, and there's a cool little establishing shot of the headquarters, right? Where we
we see like
the flag of the youth league. Yuna explains that it was formed a year ago by people who opposed New Yevon. And their claim is that in the hands of New Yevon, Spira would only repeat its past mistakes. And that this new leader, Nuge, is one of the old Crusaders.
Yeah, apparently he earned quite a reputation amongst the Crusaders as well.
Right.
And then these kids come and just fucking deck the hell out
I
of you.
love it, dude. It's so funny, yeah.
All three were going for that. I love that.
They're holding what I imagine are like normal-sized kind of swords, but because they're children, they're gigantic swords for them, and they just start swinging it around at you. And like if you talk to them, they're like, take that, and that, and that. And
yeah,
like,
these kids just come up swinging swords at us. Like, what the fuck?
It's pretty cute. Like, that's definitely a little kid thing of like having a fake sword and swinging it around and stuff. And the one kid's like, "Oh, be careful! I almost hit you!" Like blaming you that like it's like you walked into my sword. I think I also couldn't tell if this was a if this was like a Berserk reference, but one of the kids says like, "Oh, if I swing this sword like 500 times, I'll be strong enough to use like a real sword or something." Which I feel like that's the way that Guts would always train, with just swinging his fucking sword.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I think he also talks about how heavy it is. So I was just like, in my brain, I was like, maybe that's a slight Berserk reference. Yeah, little baby Guts.
There is a little hidden pathway to the right that you can take to get the Restless Sleep garment grid, which, if you equip, gives you the usage of sleep and bio. And then
bio, huh?
Yeah, and then its movement options are sleep proof, sleep touch, poison proof, and poison touch.
Nice.
And then I'll be honest with you all. That's where I stopped playing, but I remember what happens. So
sure.
I'm not looking at my screenshots anymore.
So basically, yeah, we can approach the entrance to the Youth League headquarters. And sure enough, we see Lucille.
She is standing out front, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to talk to her like 4 times to like get all the completion percentage too.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Hiya! I am glad to find you well. As you can see, I have joined the Youth League to aid in the fight for a new Spira. I consider it my duty. Maven Nuge, our leader, has been hoping for an audience with my lady for some time. Unfortunately, he is planning a mission of great import and will be occupied well into the night. I am terribly sorry, but I must ask that you return another day.
So yeah, I guess Nuge is not here. And so
either not here or he's here and just not having any visitors.
I think there's a lot of dialogue as well about people talking about how the Youth League they're planning some big important mission and it's very secret and no one can know about it. So that is kind of what's going on in there. So Lucille's like, yo, he really wants to meet you and he really wants to talk to you, but he's kind of fucking busy right now cooking something up.
Right.
Riku asks that the Youth League is also looking for spheres, apparently.
Yeah, because knowledge of the past is key to the future, so says the Maven. Which I guess, so Nuge is, like, I thought Maven was, like, his first name. It's like old Melvin.
I guess it's like Maester, but it's like...
It's like a cool street version of the
Is that a real word?
I meant to look it up and then I didn't.
Here we go. Maven.
Yeah, but it's with those words in mind that they're speaking the spheres of yore. And she also mentions that the mission they're planning also revolves around a certain sphere, but I'm sorry.
That's right.
I had best say no more.
It's of Yiddish etymology. One who understands. So he's kind of like, the
understander.
Master.
I think someone else around the camp says that he had a title, or like people would call him this in the Crusaders called, I think, Death Seeker, which is pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Pretty metal.
That will actually become important. So remember that it used to be called the Death Seeker.
The Death Seeker.
Yeah. So Lucille's not going to let us in. We can't go talk to Maven Nuge here, but we at least made it through. We completed Yibel's trial.
I do love what Riku says after taking in all of this new information. She says, there sure do seem to be a lot of weirdos around here.
But our homie Machen is on the ground.
Machen's here. And I did not take screenshots of everything he had to say.
I do have all of his stuff that I can talk about, but there is, I feel like, an important detail that we might have not mentioned where after she says that about the weirdos, Lucille's like, yeah, it's kind of like a motley crew, and some of them have like, questionable pasts, but just the other day, a very valuable sphere was stolen almost as soon as we discovered it. So I feel like that'll probably be important.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, Alex. I don't know how, like AI generated voice content works. I don't know how that stuff works or how hard that is to develop, right? Or make. Like, is there just like
Alex,
prompts
just make
that
an
you
AI
want?
generated
Do you want to
Machen.
make a Machen bot?
But can we type in or put all of Machen's dialogue into the Eminem song creator, and so it'll do the like dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Lady Una, it's good to see you again. It's been 2 years. And like do all of Machen's dialogue that way.
I'll look into it.
Okay.
I think that should be pretty easy.
I think there's some
TTS
machina
monster.
that should not be used.
God, now I don't like. I gotta find the fucking like dialogue for it.
To make Machen's dialogue enjoyable.
But he brings up some important lore to all of Spira and just some interesting discoveries as well, where he says
It should be noted that to get 100%, you have to not hit.
you have to not
There's a
spam
dialogue
through
box.
it. Yeah, there's a dialogue box that will come up and be like, right on, keep going. Or it'll be like, all right, enough. And you can hit neither of those. You just have to listen to him talk. And I accidentally had to do this twice because I talked to him again after doing it just to make sure I exhausted his dialogue.
Yeah.
And he just starts right on over.
Oh my God.
And this is a 5-minute bit of audio, I'm pretty sure that he says.
It's super long.
But I kind of just want to go through the clear points of it. And it's he's involved.
The points
in
are with
he's
Sin
in-
defeated and Yevon's terrible deception exposed for all to see. It's safe to say the Sphere was in a state of upheaval.
So he's a part of the youth league, and what he wants to do, he kind of lets Lady Una know, and he says,
We can't bust heads like we used to, but we have our ways. One trick is to tell stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I caught the ferry to Shelbyville. I needed a new heel for my shoe, so I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they called Shelbyville in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 bees for a quarter, you'd say. Now, where were we? Ah, Lady Una. The important thing was that I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. They didn't have any white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get was those big yellow ones.
so it's basically that for like 5 straight minutes or 10 straight minutes if you fuck up and have to listen to it again.
I'm looking at it right now, like based on this video, and it looks like it is almost exactly 5 minutes and change.
I didn't think about actually timing it when I hit it again. I was like, fuck, dude, I just have to sit here now and I don't want to touch anything because I'm fucking afraid I'm going to lock myself out of 100% even though I did everything. And I was like, oh, you know
About
what? I could
5.5
probably time it.
minutes
I was like, I could probably time it. And I guess I was like 45 seconds in when I started timing it. And then it was like 4 minutes and 45 seconds by the time he was finally done. It was also like I was in a really cozy operation. I had on a Snuggie. My cat was like laying on my legs. There was a nice breeze, like a November's breeze coming in the window. And I was like sitting there playing. And when I got, I was like starting to fall asleep on the first go around. And then I was just like, I honestly might just take a nap until he's done. I might just rest my eyes.
Eventually, you do get a prompt in which he does ask to shake your hand.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Which brings up maybe a nod to the last Sphere we watched.
Okay. So we don't know how old Machen is, right?
Well, he also says, like, one of the last things he says, he's like, why, I've even forgotten how old I am.
Could Machen be the guy in the video?
Could be.
I do not remember the last Sphere that we watched. What happened?
Who's to say? The one where it is literally just a guy like, wow, I can't believe I got to shake her hand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, could be.
Was that YUNG Young Machen?
Yeah.
But the gist of what he actually says in his dialogue is he gives you a little bit of the history of Spira for the last 2 years, saying that after the downfall of Sin and the downfall of Yevon, people were lost. They didn't know what to do. So they kind of
Over
looked...
time, the search for the Spheres grew popular. Some even pursued it as a profession. They, of course, are the Sphere hunters. They, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, yeah, he basically says, like, because there was so much question about, like, how to go forward, people decided to look back into their past. Because obviously, like, the last, like, hundreds of years dealing with Sin was all kind of like a lie, right? Where, like, Yevon kind of clouded the truth of how that all worked. So people have been going through a concerted effort to try to find the true history of Sphera. Sphera? Spira.
Spear.
And
might as well.
Yeah, and to do that, they need to view these spheres that were taken from before Sin, right? And there was a group that came out of Yevon called the Seekers that was founded by this guy Trema. He kind of just describes him. He's like, yeah, there's a guy Trema. He really believed in like looking at history first before we try to like establish a new way. He created these people called Seekers, and Seekers went out to find these spheres.
Yeah, he took many of the spheres collected by the Seekers and hoarded them all to himself.
Right. And so there was a little bit of like okay, well, should these like new guys, these Seekers, have all the information about it? Maybe not. So a lot of people struck out on their own to go find them. Some people go find spheres to learn about history. Some people go find spheres to sell them to people who learn about history. And that's sphere hunters. And so that's what Yuna's team is doing. They're like one of these groups who kind of like are like Indiana Jones types, I guess, or like archaeologists for hire, like mercenary archaeologists.
Belongs in a museum.
Belongs in a museum.
Yeah, he also mentions that, like, you know, what would make Trema want to do this, like, no one can say. Like, the only person who can say that is Trema, and he's like, right. I would very much like to ask him. But sadly, he vanished, much like Aang when the Fire Nation attacked.
Ain't that just the way?
Ain't that just the way indeed?
I do love this. So New Yevon would not release its spheres, yet surprisingly, a great number of people rallied to its cause. Their motto was one thing at a time. It worked to great effect. I just love this.
Release the tapes.
Yeah.
Release the piss spheres.
Release the piss spheres.
New Yevon's like, it's an election year. We can't talk about the downfalls of every fucking politician we're offering you. We got to just focus on this election.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's like obviously people who are opposed to the way the Yevon's doing things as well, how they're like hoarding all this knowledge. So this Crusader Nuge broke part and started his own group, the Youth League, that are opposed to that and like roughly stand for like kind of a free knowledge kind of thing where they're gonna get spheres and share them with people.
Yeah, he started out with the Seekers as well. Nuge started out with the Seekers because he was really drawn to that cause and like worked to collect the spheres. But in the end, New Yevon would share them with no one, and that's kind of what helped fracture that as a him from the cause.
Right. And then Machen like opines a little bit about his like memory fading, where he doesn't know how old he is. So, like every time he learns a new piece of information, some other piece of information slips away. He's just like me for real.
Machen's like, I just ran into 3 people that I just talked to like 2 years ago, and I remember none of their names or who they were or if they died or not as well. So,
yeah. And then he has to shake our hand, which we can do.
And did you?
Absolutely,
of course.
Yeah. I'd love to shake his hand.
And
then...
Yeah, and importantly, when you do shake his hand, he says, "Thank you. This old scholar can go in peace." Yeah. And Yuna's like, don't say it like that. Like that's a little bit weird. Yeah.
I do like that. Like the last time I think we get like 4 different prompts, and like the first ones are just like, oh yeah, keep going on. Or does anyone know what happens if you do say like, oh, go on? I imagine he just gets like flustered and forgets or something.
No, it just continues.
Yes, I will. Or thank you, I shall. Or something like that.
Yeah.
But then maybe he doesn't ask to like shake your hand.
It does skip a line that he's reading it though.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
But the last one that you can get, like in the last home stretch of it, which is still like a minute long, you can say, "No more, I'm begging you."
This is when, I then backtracked and met up with Clasco again.
Yeah.
Which you should do.
Yeah. Definitely go get Clasco. He is looking out over the water at the beginning of Mushroom Rock Road.
This is basically just gave me a chance to like grind a little bit and get my Furagas and Blizzaras up.
But he's looking out over the water. You can go up to him, and he's like...
He's holding his head.
Yeah, he's done with this fucking Youth League life. He don't care about this Seeker shit. He doesn't care about this fucking spheres. Man just wants to ride chocobos. Won't somebody let him ride some chocobos? And he says, "Yuna, I bet I could make it. I bet I could, like, do what I want to do in my life if you would just take me aboard your airship. Like, take me with you. I will find a place for myself." And we have an option to do it or to call him a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's the more the merrier, or sorry, loser.
Sorry, loser.
Get out of here.
Fucking fuck off.
Yuna's mean now.
Final Fantasy X-2. Yuna's mean now.
And she's got guns.
Yeah, we're playing like No Mercy Run. And then you get to enlist him.
And then you know what?
I do like there's another character that we kind of skipped over where he's hanging out with Yibel and like that squad. And when you talk to him, he says, "I'm member number 3 of Nuj's Elite Guard."
Yo, member number 3. Let's hear it. Love that guy. Keep an eye on that guy.
Yeah, I got a good feeling about that guy.
He's going places.
Now we can get back on our ship.
You can get back on the ship, and you know what? Why not go to the cabin and take a rest? Just to do it.
Oh yeah.
Just to make sure you get those completion points.
And Klasko's there also.
And Klasko's there too.
I was going to say real quick that there is kind of mention that the Youth League is planning some sort of strike. They have strike orders that have been issued against New Yevon.
Yeah, when they say strike, they're not going to like withhold their labor. They're going to like attack. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Youth Union.
We're to assemble on an island near. Whoops, that's supposed to be secret. So they're planning some sort of operation.
Not called Mihen, unless it's called.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Well,
but yeah, you should also talk to Klasko at the cabin because that's a part of completion percentage.
Yeah.
And he's feeling woozy probably from all the shaking.
Yeah.
He's just like Yuffie for real.
What with everything shaken on the airship.
Quit all the shaking.
So that is where I left it today.
Do we want to watch Did you watch the Sphere?
Oh yeah, I did watch the Sphere.
We
watched the Sphere. Also do for completion.
Which is pretty quick because it is literally just a sphere that seems to have been recorded pretty recently.
Yeah, because someone we know is in it.
Yeah, we hear some familiar voices.
Ormy is holding the camera in this one, and we see some perished souls.
Lots of dead bodies.
I think we see fireflies around them as well, right?
Yeah. So basically, we're just like it's like Ormy's recording like a mass grave or something. There's like a lot of dead bodies
massacre
around.
or something. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, he says, let's see, total survivors of the final Crimson Squad selection exercise. 0 zilch and zip all. Job done. And
Logos, yeah.
Logos is like, you pinhead, did you even count?
So we don't really know like what that's about.
So Crimson Squad is a whole nother thing we don't know.
Yeah.
About.
So Crimson Squad is something we know that Logos and Ormy are involved in it, and that it was a scene of like mass violence, and that they survived. So like, what does all that mean?
And they seem to be on the side inciting that violence, I would assume. But Riku says. When we're back on the ship, she says, "I bet the Youth League's mission of great import is a sphere hunt," which is funny thinking about that when we just heard like they're planning some sort of attack.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a party.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I left it at.
Yeah. Mission complete. We got our Moogles. We got our
riffs playing.
So next time. So I'm gonna try not to bite off too much here, but
also something I noticed that really bugs me every time in the on the Celsius. When you get in the elevator, you get your little screen selection of where you want to go from the bridge, and the deck or the cabin is above the bridge, right? Like on the map.
Yeah, yes. I think so. Yeah,
but the elevator goes down.
Oh, I did not notice that. It's
then when you go from the cabin back to the bridge, it goes up. Like they just got the locations switched or something.
I feel like that's what threw me off the first time I was on the airship, because I was like trying to get back to just like the bridge or whatever, and I like couldn't find it because like the menuing gets confusing if you're a dummy like me.
If you're a fucking dummy.
Yeah, it just really threw me off. It's like, wait, that's not where I want to go.
Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to any of that. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know where I am or what I'm doing at any given time, but
same.
I know what we'll be doing next week. So I'm going to try not to bite off more than we can chew here or record in a podcast, but the next areas that we're coming up on are all pretty short. They don't last very long.
So all the way through chapter 5.
Yeah, we're going to do the rest of the game. So I think we should do Jose Temple, the Moonflow, maybe all the way up through the Thunder Plains. Maybe Jose Temple, Moonflow, Thunder Plains, Guado Salam.
I think it's Guadasalam, then Thunder Plains.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try and get that far, and we'll see how much bullshit there's a Hypello next episode apparently, so
yeah.
We'll probably get hung up.
Guadasalam and Thunder Plains have nothing in them each. Like there's nothing to do
nice,
there.
Yeah,
so
cool.
We may even be also able to do Macalania Woods, but let's not promise because there are like 2 entire missions there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think that's what we'll shoot for.
Sounds good to me.
Indeed. Well, do y'all have anything else to say before we go?
No.
Okay. Alex, would you
I was going to try and pull up some more Machin to do an Eminem thing, but no, I'll leave it at that. So, Alex, I want to find my place, so please, will you allow me and Curtis to ride on your airship?
Sorry, loser. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to Noriko Matsuda and Takahito Iguchi for the game music.
Gucci gang.
Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. You can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, and hop in our Discord. So this is my life now. We travel from place to place, and the days just seem to fly by. But sometimes I find myself stopping. I'm listening for your podcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.